Jim, a lot of stats being thrown around about the positive way the S&P has tended to react, at least in the last 18 months after a Fed day.
Well, look, I think that this is one of those Fed days where there actually is some good news. I think that we know that commodity inflation has been tamed. The actual commodities are all down. But we are now beginning to get, when you check around with CEOs, and this place, I'm out here in San Francisco, filled with CEOs from all over the country, it's just not that hard to hire anymore. These are people I talked to last year or Zoom last year who are saying we can't find any workers and we're paying up. That's not the case. There has not been, I'm talking healthcare, tech verticals, retail, food service. It has gotten easier to hire. And David, you know that a lot of what Powell is targeting is wage inflation. If it gets easier to hire, that is at the beginning of what would be the end of the wage inflation part of this inflation nightmare.
This has been your mantra now 3 days in a row, talking about this as a focus. Mm-hmm. It seems to be moving pretty quickly here. I mean, maybe it will get easier to hire because there are a number of companies, particularly those that you are near out there, Jim, that are aggressively looking for cost cutting. And that is ending up in part sometimes with people being let go. I mean, Snap comes to mind, but there are many others.
Look, David, you know, if you want your stock to get to even just to say stop going down, you've got to stem the losses. No longer is just a revenue growth it's the be-all and end-all. And a lot of people just don't have enough business as they used to. And I think there's still a lot of companies that are trying to figure out how strong their business really is post-COVID. But when you see a CEO and you're speaking with him about trying to get high-grade engineers, which last year was a problem, now they're just talking about a flood of resumes. David, a flood of resumes, that means you don't have to pay people as much. And that's what I think Powell's been hoping for. And he's getting it. I hope he realizes he's getting it, though. That's what I wonder. Does he know? Does he have good people? Who does he talk to that knows this stuff?
Meaning what, though? That he's getting it more quickly than he may have thought, and therefore the policy response may not be what the market thinks?
Well, I just think that I often wonder, as I did in 2008, who are they talking to? Do they have the right canvassing? Because if you're out at Dreamforce, the scuttlebutt is not about how business is. The scuttlebutt is how few people they need to still do their business well, and how many people are trying to get jobs right out of school, hard to get a job, trying to move from one firm to another, not easy. I think that this phase of the economy is the one where there are more people joining the labor force, and I wonder whether Powell's information from the Fed's researchers is as up to date as the information you could get if you were here.